We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for the Top Gun Sales Bootcamp training. Let's go ahead and dive in. Nora, what you got?
So my numbers for the overall week last week were 45%.
Ooh, you go, girl. So you jumped up from from in your 20s to 45, and so that's good. So how do you lock that in? How do you lock that in?
All right.
And then how do you move it to 50? And then from 50, how do you get it to 75%? And so on your Action Vision, people that go on Action Vision on average will see a 30 to 35% increase in work productivity within 30 to 60 days. Over 95% of people who start it will follow through. And the accuracy is what's most amazing about it. Like if you do 90% of plan on average, some are more, some are less, but on average, you get 94% results. If you do 50% of plan, you get 54% results. So it's literally a scientific mathematical process to be able to tell, what you're going to do. So sometimes people say, well, Mark, I don't know about goal setting. It hasn't worked so well for me in the past. And it's like, okay, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, I set a goal to reach $250,000 in income. I'm like, okay, that's fair. And how much, and so why would you say it hasn't worked? Well, I only made 125,000. I only made 50%. I'm like, okay, that's fair. What percentage of your plan did you do? And there's silence. And they're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, maybe you only did 50% of your plan. Never thought of that. So Action Vision is the only system that I'm aware of in the world that actually measures that. I've never, and Tom Kuntz and Peter Miles, these guys are worldwide business leaders, and they've said they've never seen anything in the world that ever measures it like Action Vision does. And with the PPA, it becomes even a more granular measuring of that. And so you getting to these numbers sooner rather than later are going to be really important. So your goal to reach $250,000 in income, to me, it's not a matter of if you do that. It's just a matter of when and how you do it. And so when we look at iterations to success, so is it going to be, you've got an Action Vision plan to do it in a year? So yeah, that's a big goal. That's that. Yeah. And so the key is how tight can we reach, how the faster we can get this to 50%, the faster we can get it to 75%, the faster we can get it to 100%, 125%. The faster we can do that, the faster you can make the $250,000. Everything's iterations to success. And so, questions on that, Nora?
No.
Nice. Good work. Kenny, what you got?
Um, so you did some work on our booklet, and then yesterday when I was messing around with the Notebook LM,
Yeah.
I took our booklet and your booklet to start and added those two as sources, and then
Nice.
trial run is like, okay, we want to create, this is kind of what we want to create here, and do its thing. Let us do its thing. And
Yeah.
it wasn't, it was better than I expected.
Okay, good.
It definitely had some images, some diagrams in there that was like, that looks pretty good.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I don't know how to, I have to mess with it some more. I don't know how to change it more, what we're looking for. But I was thinking maybe a combination between if we add that or if we get those images out of there and either add that to this or
So is that what you did in here or not?
no, it's not in here. I
Okay,
don't know
gotcha.
how to get it out and
I got it.
transferred
Okay.
over yet.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So building dreams, one thing here, one project at a time. This seems like it's or project or like it's just one more piece. So this here, now that I look at this, is like, maybe take out that and just building dreams and dream, build, live. Maybe, I don't know, or replace this with something else. Anyways, just something that just hit me. So is there a question there or just informing?
Um, the question probably is how do we use tools like that to the fullest, but then because I don't think it can do what you can do or what you and Nora can do.
Right.
So
Right. But you're working on it. So that's, it's like trying to get it to where I don't have to do it, which is a wonderful thing. So probably what we do is we do a podcast on this here and then give it to Adam and say, Adam, do your magic, buddy. And then he takes the recording. It seems like AI is very much text based. It doesn't seem like it turns the audio into text. It turns the audio into text. And so we would do a recording of me and maybe you and Luke, maybe Nora too, maybe to do a podcast on this and then cast the vision and then let AI come up with that. And then at the same time, it could come up with the song. Like what builder has a song? Like that's the coolest thing in the world. And see what that does. See what Adam and his team can do with this from there. And then we go in and see if it saves us time or, actually costs us more time. It might cost us more time than if I just did it. But if it comes up with higher quality, then it's worth the more time. Or it might save us time. I don't know. So yeah, having new technology is a double-edged sword. Dave Libby, he went ahead and said just a fascinating concept. He said, men, and it could be men and women too. But he said we were talking about developing young men, and he said young men ought to work 20 hours a week to feed their family, and then 20 hours a week, men should work on learning and growing. Those can be intertwined, but that was his concept. And then 20 hours a week. So men should work 60 hours a week. 20 hours a week should be, on providing for economic engine. 20 hours a week should be learning and growing. And then 20 hours a week should be social. And this was, I don't know, over 20 years ago. And I think a lot of my life has been like that. And so AI, other tools, other things, network systems, connecting, the average person knows 250 people. The average business owner knows over 5,500 people. So now that I'm involved in pickleball, I've never been ever in my life been involved in a sport like pickleball. It is insane. They're like cults. It's like a cult. It's like, I saw something somewhere. I saw something somewhere where there's like cruises, pickleball cruises, like you're traveling around the world. Like you're going overseas just to play pickleball in Germany with other people playing pickleball. It's like a universal language. It's crazy. It's just so now I'm meeting so many people. I'm glad I've got a great team. Like so in sales, you should have an EVA. So connect with Life Masteries Institute. At some point, when you get to some point, like Todd Duncan said, you either have an assistant or you are an assistant. And so, so EVAs and they're not receptionists, they're not secretary. They're trained at a higher level in business than you probably are. So talk with Life Masteries Institute about EVAs and then figure out. Sometimes there's been a 7 or 8 month, 9 month waiting list, and it's worth every minute. And so they're just amazing. And so you have, yeah, this is good. This is good. Looking at leverage. How do you leverage this? This is exciting. Neat. Anything else, Kenny, you got?
Luke, I would encourage you to mess around with it too. I was thinking maybe it can help us with our, um, I don't know, details in the calendar or prints, something where it's the biggest thing I like about it is where you can upload PDFs and files and you can use those as sources to create something from that. So you could combine PDFs or, yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
Got
it's a
it.
what the
wild,
possibilities are yet.
it's a wild world out there with it. Yipper. Anything else, Kenny, you got?
No, that's it.
Nice. Luke, what you got?
Hi, so today I'm going back in the field and doing servicing. How do I not lose momentum or just keep the ball rolling?
So, so I'm 27 years old, 26 years old. So I've gone from making $1 an hour in sales to where now I'm making a lot of money. But man, am I running hard. And I've got 3 kids at the time. And man, am I running hard. I mean, it's really pushing it. And so I'm promoted into vice president of sales position. So I'm in a C level, chief executive level. So I'm in a high level position. I'm young, 27, 26, 27. Man, I'm making things happen. And I go and say, so I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm going on I think it was a 2-week vacation. It's a week and a half probably. So, it was a week and a half vacation. They're like, Mark, yeah, that's not a good idea. I'm like, why not? And they're like, nobody at an executive level go on vacation. I'm like, well, I do. And they're like, nobody else does. I'm like, well, that's because they don't know how to lead. I'm not saying I was cocky. I'm just saying that I'm like, good leaders should be able to go on vacation. They just should. And,
Hmm.
and so, they're like, and the president of the company, he didn't tell me I couldn't do it. And I technically wasn't an employee, like it, was, anyways. And so we went to Marco Island in Florida. And so, the most productive day is the day before you go on vacation. Well, I went ahead and prepared 2-3 months ahead of time, got everything lined up. And then I went ahead and, when I was on vacation, I would work, I don't know, half an hour to an hour a day. And I was actually out on the beach with my computer. I didn't mess up the computer. It was fine. And so, I had salespeople I was managing, I had clients and stuff like that. So, Luke, what you want to do is you want to, the 80-20-90-10 principle, like in The Secret About Time. On The Secret About Time, you want to go ahead and you're doing like, okay, what's the 10% of the work that I need to do today, when I'm out in the field doing servicing. So when I'm doing this, I'm doing this here. I don't want the roller coaster to kick in. So I have to go ahead. So, I do marketing, I get leads, and then I work those leads, and then I convert them into the sale, and then I service them. Well, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and do marketing. And I'm still not getting your numbers for your social media guy, am I?
No.
So I'm guessing that me involved in that would double the quantity or quality of the sale. And are we meeting with him, once a month to review over results?
Not as of now.
Do you remember me saying that that's kind of important?
Yes.
So you don't want to be like Kenny asked at Coffee Connection, which was really cool, so um, he rightfully said that, analytic and amiable and expressive have issues, drivers are perfect. And so I wouldn't disagree with that. So that was kind of cool. He then asked, he's then giving advice about kids and, marriage and stuff, but he did it jokingly. It was a masterpiece in how he did it. And then he asked, I thought, a sincere question: how does a young guy that's not married, doesn't have kids, how does he prepare for it? It's this type of thing too. It's getting out in front of things where you see things before they happen. So it brought back memories where, some of the young guys, when, I was married when I was 20. And so, and then, was having kids and stuff. And I'd have these young guys that come in and they'd be selling, and testosterone's high and they're going to go out there and crush it. And they've got all this free time, but they lack discipline. So a wife and children provide tremendous discipline. At least it should. It's supposed to. It doesn't always, but it should. And and a whole bunch of other things. And so what I would do is they often lack discipline. So what I do is I'd say, you can either here's a picture. When I was in training, I'd say, here's a picture of my kids. And you can either think of my kids, you're providing a living for them. Many women, especially great wives, do they need the husband economically? Maybe not today. But what kids do, right? They're going to starve if they don't have, and so I'd say, I don't care if you use my kids or you come up with your own family. Now you could come up with your own family with AI, and you get a picture of your kids, and you look at your kids, you look at your ideal wife and your ideal kids, and you say, this is what I'm working for. So I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work more disciplined. I'm going to be more focused and whatever. So ideally, you've got the marketing here and little things like like when Mark like if Mark gives you little things to do and you don't do them, trust me, you won't do them with your wife. I mean, maybe for the first few months, but yeah, probably not more than a short period of time. Eventually, you're just not going to do them, and that's not going to not going to make her happy. Like then you're gonna act like a boy. She's gonna act like your mom. She's not gonna be happy because she didn't want to marry a boy, and you're not gonna be happy because you didn't want to marry your mom. But that's how it works. It just does. So you want marketing to be really attentive to me. If you're really attentive to me, you're gonna be a better husband. You just will. You're gonna have a better wife, better family. Be attentive to your customers. And then you want marketing still going where you have pre-sales, where then you go ahead and have sales. So you still have marketing, pre-sales going, and then you have all of this going. You don't want to move. You want these things in place. You want the 80-20 rule, so this here should grow with you over time. So this here should grow with you over time, where you go ahead and look at the 80-20 rule. So these things here, you're like, okay, so I've got day 8. So if I only had 10 minutes, and so you want to get a wife, if you're a business owner, you want to get a wife that's understanding of that. And you want to be a husband that's not going to take advantage of that. And so, so the 80-20, you're getting down into it. So Luke, you're thinking, okay, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do? Like, what's the most important thing I need to do while I'm doing servicing? So you're going to go ahead and do servicing maybe 80%, but you got to do something here. It's just like Andrew, he's looking at, like he needs to be able to be consistent in the legacy partner stuff and the sales of that. And maybe that's 20 minutes a day. Maybe that's an hour a day, 2 hours a day. Again, you go back to iterations to success. How soon do you want to go ahead and see, how soon do you want to see success? Well, I want to see it faster. Well, if you're going to see it faster, you're going to have to work harder, work smarter. You're going to have to condense things. You're going to have to pay more attention. You're going to have to be harder on yourself, push yourself. It's the same thing like with working out physically at the gym. Does that help, Luke?
Mm-hmm.
So your mind, you want to get paid. Initially, you get paid often for physical, like you're at McDonald's and you're, filling orders. It's physical work. Then you move into the mind. Then you start doing leverage where you're starting to go ahead and earn money off of developing other people. So I was talking, my son and I, my 27-year-old son, he went to church with me yesterday at the PB church, and we were talking afterwards. And he's like, Dad, yeah, I see how much work you put into people, how much you invest into people, and then they just leave. Like you lose everything. It's like it's not really like that. I mean, if you know what you're doing, and so developing other people is one of the most rewarding things you can ever do, and one of the most frustrating. It's just like having children. It's the same. It's conceptually, it's the same. And so all of you should be, looking at developing, getting 2 other people into Top Gun and then developing them. Anything else, Luke, you got?
Oh, Saturday something cool happened where came on with Coffee Connection. Usually I wouldn't be or too much of my email Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, but somebody emailed me for a price and I took care of them, gave them our price right there and then. Like, I don't think we would have gotten him, or I don't know, do we have him or not, but like if I
Right,
wouldn't been able to get that right out, I'm pretty sure the
right,
chances would have gone down.
right,
So
right. And see, that's a good. See, what's fascinating is how I think is very different than other people. Most people, it seems like, want to avoid responsibility. Like it's not my fault. We wouldn't have got the sale anyways. This and this and this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out where I suck as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, as a leader, as a salesperson. I'm trying to find out where I'm making mistakes. I'm trying to figure out, take more and more ownership of everything. And so those are stories. Those are stories. And what you do is you compound those stories, Luke, and you find out. And this is where, an employee, the longer you've been an employee, the harder it is to be a business owner. And so you just go to work and you come home and that's what you do. But as a business owner, you learn, if I do just a little bit of work on a weekend, if I just do a little bit of stuff, if I'm just there, like the EVAs, executive virtual assistants, they might not work, but I'm their customer. They think, if he's working, I'm working. So they're responsive. They don't work 8, 10 hours, on a Saturday or Sunday. They just do a little bit of work. So that little bit of work actually saves you work throughout the week. And so you have momentum. And so as a business owner, in a way, you're always working. In another way, you're never working. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. Excellent, Luke. And so how do you embed that into other people? So you're getting it. You're like, okay, actually, Mark seems to know what he's talking about. The faster you get to lead, the more chance you've got, especially if it's on a weekend, early morning, evening, weekend, holiday. All of those are special days. And so, yeah, nice. That's awesome. Anything else, Luke, you got?
and we sometimes receive internet inquiries on a Sunday. It's like
Right.
I just wait till Monday morning, then I
So in an
reply to
ideal
them.
world, you have a personal conviction, not to go ahead and work on a Sunday.
I
Would you still?
think I think there's something you could set up in email where it's an automated email that would go out on weekends or on Sundays.
Yep. And
Where
ideally, you
it,
set that up to delay it, you know, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, so they don't think it's a delayed. And so you can set that up. Can you incorporate AI into that to make it to where it's something more? And say, can you
yes.
direct them to your website? can you direct them to your website to go ahead and get them to fill out a survey, a question, and then you go ahead and automate that. So you go ahead and you automate that and you get them to fill out something, say, we're going to review it, we'll review it over the weekend, or we'll review it and get back to you, in a day or something. So that's one option, is to automate. So the 5-time management freedom, this stuff here, how do you help people understand? Like, this stuff here is just smoking hot. Like, it's just like, holy cow. And so the 5-time management freedom fighters, you delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone. Like those are, what you're doing is, okay, so you have a personal conviction to not work on Sunday. Get that, totally get that. That's how I was raised too. I think that's a good thing. And so it's systematized. So that's one of your options. Another option, if somebody doesn't have that conviction, if they don't have that conviction, maybe they take off. Maybe they're more spiritual than you are, Luke. And how would you be more spiritual than you on not working on Sundays?
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, somebody taking Saturday, because Saturday is really the Sabbath. And so the Bible says you're supposed to take Saturday off, not Sunday. So, so maybe somebody takes Saturday off and they don't work on Saturday, but they work on Sunday. Maybe they don't work much on Sunday. So you can do delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone. You can do that. So there's a lot of options. This is walls of opportunities. So the walls of opportunities, whenever you have a problem, quote unquote problem, you go ahead and you have the walls of opportunities. So I'm going over that wall. I'm going under, I'm going over that wall. I'm going under. I'm going to the left. I'm going to the right. I'm going to go ahead and blow it up. I'm going to tear it down. Somehow, some way, I'm going to make a breakthrough. The bigger the wall, the thicker the wall, the harder it is to make a breakthrough. The more important it is to make that breakthrough. That's not just in business. That's in life. That's in relationships. So 41 years of marriage, it's been messy at times, really messy, really, really, really hard. You just don't give up. You just fight through it. So often what happens though is we're lazy or stupid. So, we're ignorant. Like, if you go ahead and try one way and it doesn't work, you try another way, so you go over, that doesn't work, try to go under, that doesn't work, you go to the left. Okay, that works. What do we often do?
Reuse that route instead
We
of
use
keep on
that route.
trying.
We don't try 4, 5, and 6. And then this is where we become locked. And we say, well, this is the right way. This is the best way. And then we put all of our energy into creating walls and boundaries around us and protection around us. And so people don't, I'm not saying you shouldn't have boundaries. I'm just saying that boundaries also, they can prevent you from growing. And again, don't misquote that or misunderstand that. When you become strong, it's like people won't take advantage of you because they're not boundaries. It's just they're going to pay a price or something. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. But here, you go ahead and say, okay, how am I going to do that? Because the customer needs to be served. They do. And for them, it's not work. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Andrew, anything you got, sir?
Not as of now, no.
So we need to figure out how to accelerate. We need to figure out how to accelerate the growth of legacy partners. And so, Nora, so there's a principle, it's called the simple to complex to simple principle. And so what I did is I built something, biggest challenge to income. Nora came along and simplified it. And now I'm adding, complexity to it. So here's I learned this with Yen, who's over in India. He's a computer programmer. And so we simplify things and we get to the more simple something is, the better results you get. And you maximize it to the maximum degree. So you go ahead and so you get it up to this level. And what's human nature, especially with men? Women sometimes too, but especially men often. You want more. You want to go, once you climb one mountain, you want to climb another. You just do. It's human nature. So what happens though is you can't simplify it. It has been simplified to the simplest matter. So the only way to go ahead and get to this new mountain is you got to go ahead and add complexity. When you add complexity, this is why when you go from 500,000 to 1 million to 2.5 million, 2.5 million to 5 million, your profits almost always go down. So what most people do is they say they want this, but what they do is they add complexity and it gets worse and worse. And there's only a few, and I don't know if they're lucky or not. I don't think they are. They're so insane that they'll go ahead and go all the way down to the bottom here. It's like they're foolish, it seems like. It seems like they're insane, but I don't know. They're called to do something. So what happens here is when you do this, you go ahead and you get really ticked. And then you get angry, you get upset, you get frustrated. It's like an explosion. And what you do is that's when you apply the 80-20-90-10 just out of pure frustration. And then all of a sudden, what happens is you go ahead and you skyrocket. Actually, this complexity, if I had to redo this graph, I would go ahead and make the complexity longer and then the simplification higher. So complexity would go long and then simplicity. So then after I discovered this, I'm like, interesting. So how do you go ahead and take out, how do you make this to where you don't, because this will put you out of business, maybe out of life. How do you not have that or reduce that or minimize that? It's like pregnancy. So I've been, in 7 births, and it's going to be painful for the woman. Like it physically, it's going to be painful. And so, but you can make it worse, or you could put the life of the mother at risk or the baby at risk. So how do you prevent that? Move to complex sooner. Don't let life do it to you. Reduce the time we're in complex, meaning figure out how to be complex without the complexity. Use the 80-20 rule to find out the best of the complexity and then master. Have a great plan, prepare, have the right people, be focused. So it's still going to be painful. It just is. There's no making a dimensional jump is just hard. It just is. And it's risky and it's painful. It just is. And so Nora and I are working on that. So she simplified it, which I appreciate. Now I'm going to add complexity. Maybe she and I can get into flow and she'll go ahead and do it. But what we need like Andrew or Ben, or Bob, or all 3 of them, or maybe Victor. We need people to go through it because we're going to crack the code. So how do we help Andrew accomplish in a month what's taken Nora 9 months to do? It's the simple to complex to simple, or I'm sorry, it's the iterations to success. Like it's the iterations. Like why is she willing to do that? 2 reasons. One is it's just we're a team. So it's Nora's mind. We're a team. Like this is what we do. Part of it's selfishness. It's WIFM. It's the understanding that, like, if she's making money off of Andrew or Bob or Ben, if she's making money off of them, And she should make money if she's investing her time. If she's helping to condense that time, she should make money off of them. She's taking risks that they don't have to take. She's investing things that they don't have to invest into. She's accelerating that in being able to do that. And so it makes sense for her and her son. They're reaping the benefit of what they've sown. So this is really cool. Anything else any of you have? Okay.
Nope.
If you have any questions on anything we went over today, talk to your art mentor. There's so much of the Top Gun sales boot camp. Like that's what we're trying to do. Every new generation that goes through, ideally you're going through with 3, 4, 5 people at a time. Like you're going through, like, these guys are going through it. And so we're trying to make it more and more effective. How do you do that? And one of the things is the art mentor and the art buddies. That's a really powerful system. Nora's working with Shuaib and so you guys need to move faster. So hopefully by tomorrow, you guys will have PPA, all 3 of you others. Nora's on it now. That had some amazing effect last week on her. And so you guys going through that and doing all that, always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.